Check Game Podcast.
Good episode of Check Game.
Episode of Check Game Podcast.
So welcome back to Check Game.
All right, so welcome back to Check Game Podcast.
All right, welcome back to Check Game.
Welcome back to Check Game.
Yo, welcome back to Check Game.
Welcome back to Check Game.
Hey, yo, welcome back to Check Game, man. I'm here with your boy Alvin Williams.
Got an opportunity to share a game. You know, it's called Check Game.
Welcome back to Check Game Podcast. I'm here with your boy Alvin Williams.
I'm here with your boy Fats. What's up, cuz?
I'm good, and today we got a special guest, man. We got a Villanova guy, a Big East Player of the Year. He played with the Nets. He went to the championship twice. Hell of a career. One of the fastest guys I ever seen do it. He good on defense, good on offense. More or less to say, man. Let's welcome in your boy Kerry Kittles, man.
My man Kerry.
Pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yep. Pleasure, man. Pleasure. I'm glad to have you here today, Kerry. It's a real pleasure. I'm a big fan of yours, man. I've been following Alvin's career since I was a kid, and you became a teammate of his. And the first time I asked him about you, Alvin made it clear to me that you was the best player he ever seen. And I was like, whoa, you the man. He said, no, Fats, no. No, this guy, Kerry Kittles, is good, Fats. And that same year, you won Big East Player of the Year. So since a kid, my cousin always bigged you up to me. He always had the most respect for you, mad love. And it translated down to me because I seen how he felt about you. And it just was like, well, Kerry must be my brother too. You know what I mean? So, yeah, good to have you, man. What's up, Al?
Nothing, man. It's definitely a pleasure. Got my brother here with us, man. And like you said, even before that, Kerry is funny. So me and Fats met, cousins, his father, my mom, brother and sister, and we met at our grandma's funeral. And I was going into my senior year, and we keep in touch and go and stuff like that. Fats from the projects. He's from the heart of the hood, North Philly, Diamond Street, like Philadelphia. We're gonna talk about Philly too. But after the first year, I go and take him a pair of Villanova shorts, freshman year. But it's the beginning. I get freshman shorts or whatever. Freshman year it was. I bought you the shorts down there, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
But I go down in the projects, dog, and he was like, "Yo, tell me about Noah. Like, how is it? Like, what you killing?" I said, "Yo, dog, it's a boy named Kerry Kittles." Hey, yo. So I never forget my first time going. So my thing was coming out of Philly, my high school. I used to work on the Tim Hardaway crossover. I used to work on that thing. I go left to right, boom, left to right, and that was my. So I'm sitting there. I come out Fats. I don't gotta tell Kerry because he's part of it. I'm coming down. I said, man, let me hit him with this, and I do it, dog. Next thing I know, man, he took that shit. Took it. Ain't nobody never take that from me in 4 years of high school. Then I turn around, I start chasing him. I got to get mines back. And when I say first of all, he took off before I even jumped. I was like, ain't no way he can take off from this far away from the back. He took off. And now I jump. He's still getting higher. He getting higher, dog. I'm just smelling his armpits. And he dunked that thing on. I said, oh. And it had to be right after that. I said, you know what? This is a different level, dog. Mm-hmm. This is a different level. So I wanted to, I always got to give you these stories, Kerry, because, again, and I say it to the day, now you're one of the best basketball players that I ever played with. But before then, 2-3 years in the NBA, you the best player that I ever played with because you did so many things, man. And I just loved you as a person, dog. And we even come closer now after our careers as friends, as brothers, man, families and stuff. So, man, I thank you again for being on the show, man. But you was a bad boy.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
How'd you get to Nova, dog?
How'd I get to Nova? I think so I grew up in New Orleans, which New Orleans is in Louisiana it's a football state. So most basketball players, there was only a few guys that really came out the state that made it to high major basketball. John Thompson came down to recruit for Georgetown. He snagged a few guys in the late 80s and the early 90s. So John Thompson was down there recruiting, and we had a guy named Dwayne Spencer my year who was a McDonald's All-American who was highly sought after. So they came down to see Dwayne Spencer. They came down to see Randy Livingston, and they just saw a skinny guy running around slashing to the basket. Because back in high school, that's all I did was slash. But to the basket, yeah. I was an open court guy, steals, transition dunks, half court, I'm slashing to the basket. You can't stay in front of me. So they came down to see those two guys, Dwayne and Randy. and they saw me playing on the same AAU team and stuff like that. So that's how I got recruited. Wound up playing with those guys in a national AAU team on a circuit. We did well. We went to Boston. We played in the Boston Shootout back when I was a freshman, sophomore. We did well up there in Boston. So that's how I started getting recruited. And then, some schools from the Big East, Pitt, Villanova, and a few other schools started recruiting me. And that's how I came.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kerry, I'll said I'm from the projects. You from New Orleans. He always tell me you have relationships with Cash Money P and those guys down there. Can you get an audience a little bit of your backdrop and your history down in New Orleans?
Yeah, so I mean, it's not much. So it's a real small town. Obviously, New Orleans is a destination city. You come down for Mardi Gras, you come down for the Bayou Classic, you come down for a bowl classic, and I just hooped. I hooped just growing up, and I played football up until high school. Realized I was too skinny to play football in high school, so basketball became my number one sport, and that was it. I just literally growing up, I just wanted to be the best player in my grade, which was hard to do being a skinny kid, but I somehow wound up being Mr. Basketball with Dwayne being there. I don't know how that happened, but it just started. I just progressively just got better and better. That's all I did was every year just added more to my game. I really didn't follow national basketball. I watched, a little bit of NBA in high school, but other than that, I was a football guy. I watched football, day in and day out, and worked my way up there. That's all.
No, it's funny. So, because I want to get back, because I want you to talk about your high school experience, because you told me a bunch of times like you played JV, and then the school St. Augustine. You said Avery Johnson, not Avery Johnson went there. So explain that, and your coach how he used to discipline you guys, But before that, because Kerry used to make me so mad, and we're gonna jump around because Kerry used to make me so mad because we in that joint playing Biggie, Nas, and he coming this one time with this Master P. That's the first time I was introduced to Master P. So not having a personal relationship, and I don't know what that, but he's bringing this Master P. I'm like, yo, Kerry, turn this off, man. Like, what is this? Like, he introduced the down south No Limit Soldiers and all that, which ironically I almost became Master P's teammate for Toronto, but you was the first person to introduce me to that down south, that Master P No Limit stuff.
So
Music, not stuff.
that's how it is. So like down south, the music, like we was always Tupac and all the West Coast rappers and all the Eazy-E and all those guys. And then when New Orleans has their own culture, it's called bounce music. So it's just local New Orleans bounce. And it's just unique to New Orleans. They rock with it in Houston and they rock with it a little bit in Atlanta, but it was mostly New Orleans. And it was Master P and other local artists you had. Obviously Lil Wayne was coming up back then. But Manny Fresh used to DJ all the local parties. All the high school dance parties, it was Manny Fresh DJing them. And so I came to college to Villanova, and that's all I listened to was bounce music. And they was like, who are these people? What is this? And I was like, well, who are all these New York rappers? Because we ain't really listen to it back home. You would hear the MTV raps and stuff like that. You would hear the rappers, but like other than that, man, it's local bounce music all day. So when Alvin used to hear the music, he was like, who is this stuff? I'm like, you'll hear about it eventually, Al.
Damn sure did. Yeah.
So Kerry, you had an outstanding career at Villanova. Right?
Hold, Speedy.
All right, man. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. You go off, man.
So I want you to know, because a lot of the stuff we talk to, we want kids to hear it. You and I now going through and have the kids, the AAU, and they'll see somebody like Kerry Kittles, and they think the pathway was this way, this is how it is. He played varsity right away, averaged 25, 30, All-American, AAU, did it. What was your path, dog? And you always told me about the discipline and the structure at your school, your high school team that you played for. But what was your path quickly about that?
So my path was unique, like a lot of athletes from like the down south or the Midwest or whatever, middle America, where basketball is not a hub like it is in the Northeast. So my high school coach was like the Bob Hurley of the South. And my high school was known for discipline. You know, we had corporal
St. Augustine, right?
in Augustine High School. We had corporal punishment. Back then you got paddled in high school daily. You know, the paddle was if you was late for school, you got paddled. If you didn't have your gear on right, your shoes wasn't right, wasn't laced, your clothes, your tie wasn't right, you got paddled. So my high school basketball coach was known to how do you say it? He leaned into extra discipline. So and I was good, but I wasn't like, we had D1 players all throughout my high school. So I played my freshman year, and I played JV my sophomore year. And my sophomore year, we had a guy named Torrey Andrews who wound up going to Rice. He played at Rice. He was a four-year starter at Rice. But then we also had football players who played varsity my sophomore year. One of them was Sean Jackson. He was the tailback at Florida State with Charlie Ward for football. He started as a freshman at Florida State, but he came off the bench in high school as a senior for basketball. And we had another guy who was an outside linebacker at Florida State, who was also on the basketball team. So it was D1 players all throughout my high school. So you had to wait your turn, and my coach was like, you got to earn it. So I played JV as a sophomore. I did well, and then came off the bench as a junior. As a junior, came off the bench on varsity, and we wound up losing in the state championship game to Dwayne Spencer, the guy I mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was really just old school discipline. You had to earn it the hard way, get it out the mud, wait your turn, and prepare yourself, which I did. And my senior year, we wound up winning state and things like that. And I emerged finally as a senior.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, right? You say that, my bad, Fats. It's interesting because everybody has a different path. And I think it's important for people to know everybody's journey is different.
Mm-hmm.
We ready to get into Villanova now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hey, man, you Nova.
So you getting to Nova. I mean, at this time, Nova's a big deal in the collegiate sports. So to sign with a big time school like that must have been a great feeling. And then getting to Nova, being from New Orleans, from the South, getting up to the Northeast with the change of culture, the change of people. What was that adjustment like for you as a kid, and how do you reflect back on that?
Yeah, honestly, when I went to Nova, I was just like, I'm going to do the same thing I did in high school. I'm just going to wait my turn and get it done. And I got 4 years to get it done. And the reason why I picked Nova was because they had 4 seniors my freshman year. So my thinking was, they graduating out. I know nobody's going to come behind me and take my spot. That ain't going to happen. So I got 3 years to do my thing in the Big East. Mm-hmm. So I went in as a freshman with like low expectations. And remember, I was getting my ass kicked back in New Orleans by the local kids at Tulane. Whenever I go play open run at Tulane, they was killing me. So I'm thinking, okay, if Tulane kids this good, then the 4 seniors at Nova are going to be that much better. Lance Miller, Calvin Bird, those guys, they nice. Well, I'm thinking in my head, they nice. So I went up to school with low expectations, wound up doing well as a freshman, coming off the bench. He wound up starting me after my first 10 games because I was doing well. So I figured, okay, I got 3 more years after they graduate. I'm getting used to the Northeast culture. The winter was we have no winter in New Orleans. Like, so the snow, the culture, just everything was just new to me. So, but when you have low expectations, you just playing with house money. So I was just hooping, man. I didn't really care if I had a good game, great. If I had a bad game, I'm a freshman, right? So that's how I looked at it. And then, with Alvin and Jay coming in that following year, I figured we got 3 more years to compete. We'll be all right. Oh,
I again, like the situations where you came to Villanova, and you see it a lot today. Coaches changing, people decommitting, people going to different schools. When you came to Nova and committed, you was recruited by Raleigh Massimino.
right.
And then by the time it was time to go, Raleigh Massimino decided to go to UNLV. What was going through your head as a player, your family? What was you thinking? We go through this recruiting thing, and they tell us how much they love us, and now it's time to make a decision. You make a decision, and then things change. How did you process that?
Yeah, that's hard. I'm a 17-year-old kid. We just won the state championship, and the coach leaves. Right. That was my
Mm-hmm.
only question. That was my only question on my visit back in the fall when I visited Villanova was, would you ever leave Villanova? And he was like, I'm gonna die in this chair. And then fast forward 7 months later, he goes to UNLV. So now we're back to that square one. So now I'm like, all right, if I transfer, I'm gonna have to sit out 1 year, maybe 2 years. I might as well just go and see what happens. So
Right.
it took some time for me to kind of settle down with the news, and then they hired Steve Lapis as a new coach, and I decided to just stick with it, man. And just my gut was like, it's the Big East, it's 1 year, go up there, see what it's like. You know what I'm saying? See how he is as a coach. I knew nothing about Steve Lapis, so
Right.
but
Yeah.
my coach,
So
my high school coach, was like, just go, go have fun, man. See what happens.
so you started out with Massimino, or you started out with Lapis?
I started out with Lapis. Massimino left my senior year. He left the spring of my senior year before I got there. So I started out with Lapis. We were both new. He was there before as an assistant, but as a new head coach at Nova, it was like, I'm a freshman, so let's just see what happens.
So so
I'm gonna tell
so
you what's so crazy about that, Fats and Kerry. When he made the decision to leave Villanova and go to UNLV, he did it on April Fool's Day.
Yep.
I remember it being on April Fool's Day, and because I was getting recruited, and I remember they came back, it's like, Raleigh Massimino's leaving Villanova, and I'm thinking it's an April Fool's joke. And then come to find out it was the real thing. So I
That's
remember
how
that
I
being
found
like
out.
April Fool's Day.
That's how I found out. They called me into the office to take a phone call from a reporter, and he asked me the same question. How do you feel about Massimino leaving? And I was like, is this an April Fool's joke? And he was like, you didn't know? He goes, you didn't know? I was like, no. And so it was wild. It was wild. He didn't call me beforehand, so I found out from the media, and then
Yeah.
had to digest it all. So it's crazy.
And shout out to Coach Mass. Coach Mass is a beautiful person. You know the business of it. Shout out to his family. His family's always been supportive. Coach Mass was a great human being, man. So not to beat up Coach Mass, he made a decision, but you see it a lot of times. A lot of coaches, kids get reprimanded, and we talked about it too, Fats. The emotions behind a kid decision is not the same as you give it to an organization or a corporation or a bigger entity where people aren't held as accountable or viewed the same way. It's a lot more negative conversation when a kid makes a decision for the better half or the betterment of themselves, opposed to when an adult does that. So, today we see a lot of coaches switching lanes, and now kids have some power to do the same thing without the punishment, without having to sit out. And that's the culture of it now, but it's been going on for a long time.
Yep.
Yeah, so at Nova, right? I gotta ask you this because this is my cousin. When he got recruited, and he came in there, was you like, this bum ass nigga, I'ma kill him?
I couldn't wait to fill it out. I couldn't wait. I mean,
Good.
the first time we had pickup runs when he came on his visit, or even before that, I was like, man, I can't wait to run with him. Look, a pass first point guard with size, can handle the rock, that's tough. Sign me up any day.
Good.
I mean, he reminded me of Randy Livingston. Remember,
Oh.
Randy Livingston was all world. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. He was MVP at AAU for 5 years, coming out of high school in youth basketball in New Orleans. I played with Randy in the summer. So when I saw Al, I was like, he's just like Randy. No different.
It's funny, right? So me first stepping foot on campus, so we had, and Fats, John Haynes.
Mhm.
And at the time, we were getting recruited. It was Rashid, Ty Weeks, and there was a guy by the name of Jamal Robinson out of New York that ended up going to Virginia. Jamal Robinson, smooth, 6'7", tough.
Yep.
And myself. And Jay Lawson, I think, had already committed to Georgia Tech at this point. I don't think he was on that list. I think he was already going to Georgia Tech, but us four haven't committed yet. So remember Paul Hewitt was telling John about, this is going to be the starting group. John Haynes, myself, uh, whoever, Sheed, and whoever it was. But Kerry wasn't, I don't think, in the idea of starting because they said, Jamal Robinson. And John Haynes was like, what? Where Kerry at? No, Jamal Robinson, 6'7". And John was like, nah, ain't nobody Kerry the best player on campus. Like, ain't the Jamal ain't. I remember John telling me that. And then years later, I talked to Jamal Robinson. And Jamal Robinson said he loved Villanova, he loved this. But when they said that to him and he just finished playing against you, he said, damn, Dad, they just lied to me. I ain't starting over him. Like, I ain't starting over him, man. Like, but it was crazy because Kerry was such under the radar, and coaches do this all the time. They don't really understand what they truly have, dog. They see us, but they didn't feel us, and
I don't think
that's
Paul
obvious
Hewitt
right
saw
there.
me play yet. I think that was in the preseason freshman year before we was allowed to practice with the coaches because there was a lot of talk about that when we was having open runs freshman year when it's just the players in the open gym. And we playing
Right.
in Jake Nevin and recruits are coming in and you know what I'm saying? It's just different back then. So that's
Yeah.
probably what that was. Because once we started practice, they
They knew. Yeah, I wasn't
I think
there, but that also, and I just love this, man. Walking on campus again, another difference. We used to have preseason conditioning.
oh
So we used to do preseason conditioning, and Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We get up early in the morning, 5:30, 6 o'clock?
yeah.
And we 2 days out of the week, we would run around the neighborhood, do certain things, but we'd be on the track one time. So we used to have to run. So I'm like, all right, man, I'm in shape, whatever. When I say we had to run a mile, so bigs had to run a mile in 5 minutes and 50 seconds. Guards had to do it in 5:25, I think, or 5:20. So I'm sitting here like, yo, man, I ain't never run a mile under 7 minutes in my life. So the thing was, if you didn't get your time, you couldn't start practice. And you couldn't play. We used to have Midnight Madness. That was the introduction to the team. And so it was a big pep rally. So we always conditioned. We conditioned, you set the time and all that stuff. So I wasn't nowhere near 5:20 when we first started running. But I looked at Kerry, he running. So I go out and I'm looking at Kerry. So one day, I don't know if you remember this, Kerry, we had lunch and you got a bowl of cucumbers, dog. So I'm like, yo, you just gonna eat cucumbers, dog? He's like, yeah, man. Helps me with my oxygen. He's telling me like it's like helping him with his car. So I'm getting cucumbers from now. I was like, hold up, dog. Because Kerry, 5:20, you know what Kerry ran it in?
Mm.
Was it 4:45?
Yeah.
4:45. Dog. 4:45 the mile. And he wasn't a track person. What I said, yo, unbelievable. 4:45 mile, dog. And when I say I finished this joint, and I don't know if you remember, I had the biggest coughing attack. My lungs was about to jump out. I almost died. And this dude almost lapped me, and I'm running the fastest as I can run, dog. And I remember I think it was Kelvin Sampson, one of these colleges, and I don't do nothing on Instagram. And they was talking about the college team, and they put a time that they had to run it. And I remember I just put a comment. Well, Kerry Kittles ran it in 4:45, and it was whatever, dog. Like just a phenomenal freak, dog. Like just again, I got to keep interrupting. But go ahead, Kerry. I mean, Fat.
No, what you're speaking about is just real because it translates to like your speed is so impactful. You look like a greyhound out there almost. And y'all Villanova career together. What y'all win? Did y'all win the Big East? Or y'all lost in the tournament? Didn't y'all had a big run together? Didn't y'all at Villanova?
Yeah, we won a Big East tournament.
And went to the tournament and lost?
Yep.
Yeah, we lost.
I don't mean to
We
bring
lost.
that
We lost.
up.
That was Now you want to bring up old
No,
old
all
stuff,
right.
dog.
All right, so let's talk about you getting drafted at number 8, unless you
No,
want to
hold
go
on,
back.
hold on,
Well,
hold on,
let's go to
Fats.
no. Okay, all right. Well, go
Because
ahead, man.
I gotta say this, dog. Like you coming in, maybe not the biggest name, but by the time I got there,
Shit, it
sophomore
was
year, junior year, like you was it.
he's
All
better than everybody.
American,
Yeah.
everything, the signs on the 7th day, God created Kittles, Kerry Kittles. Like it was like just walking around campus, it was amazing. And all that attention was on us through Kerry. Like how did you process that? Did that impact you? Did you get big headed? Did you start walking? Because you look like you start walking a little bow legged a little bit. Look like you start walking bow legged around campus. What was that like? Now you just a man.
I mean, it was over my
Just
head.
give me the real answer, Kerry.
I'm gonna give
Give
you
me
the
the
real
real
answer.
answer.
Like, I wasn't even really thinking about it at all. Like, honestly, I wasn't. It never crossed my mind. It never was like it was not. It never crossed my mind. Honestly, like I was literally just trying to get better. You gotta remember, I came in as a freshman with like low expectations. They changed my
Right.
whole jump shot. I had a Magic Johnson set shot in high school, and the coach changed my whole jump shot. I didn't know what to do. All I was doing was just practicing on my own, just trying to figure out how to 1-2 and use my legs because I didn't jump.
Mm-hmm.
So once I figured that out, I was like, oh, I can make shots in the game, contested, because I was jumping. So I just put my head down, just tried to get better, and just let my game just speak for itself. We was just college kids just having fun. It was, once we got good sophomore year, we started winning games.
Hold up, Kerry. Hold up, Kerry Kittles. Your name biggest Frosted Flakes around town. You trying to tell me you ain't feel like you was the man when you was Kerry Kittles at Nova, and the whole entire country knew you was the man, Kittles.
We didn't have social media. We didn't have the internet. The internet wasn't like it is now. So like you had Sports Center, highlights. That's it. Really. So we were on the main line. We weren't in Philly where Temple so we was out there on the main line in our own little bubble, honestly. Like think about it. Like all we could do was play our games. We went to Alaska. We played out there. We went down to Florida. We beat the Florida Gators that year after they won the championship. We beat them. That was a big win for us. I mean, they was talking about us, but not like that. So once the season, Big East started, and we started doing all right, we was getting, we were 19-10 sophomore year, 19-10. So, we didn't go to the Final Four. So, yeah, I mean, we knew we were good, but like once again, man, we were just college kids having fun, honestly.
So
that's how I looked at it.
You mentioned you opened the womb. You remember I got kicked out of the Alaska shootout game, Townsend Orr? This dude, hey, Kerry, the first game we playing Alaska Anchorage. In fact, you was out there with Gratz.
Mm-hmm.
Come to find out, y'all was out there. Fats with the Gratz, Kerry.
Okay.
So he was out there in a high school tournament, and we playing. This dude, man, he running down on me. John Haynes was hurt, so I was starting as a sophomore. He running down on me, dog, and Lap brings me to the sideline. Timeout. What the F are you doing? What are you doing? You're getting your ass bust by a fucking Eskimo.
I remember that.
Yo, it was a little dude, dog.
Yeah, I remember
And
that.
I'm sitting there, he's like, you're getting your ass bust by a fucking Eskimo. And I'm just sitting there like, yo, I can't stand Lap right now, dog. But that moment, like to Kerry point, but I do know this, Kerry. In that area, that main line, you said we're in our bubble, you were all that. But one thing I want to touch on, coming from New Orleans, what was your relationship? What was your thought of Philly basketball, the Big Five? What I know you told me before, you really didn't know much about it. What when you experienced it? What did you get out of it?
Man, it was crazy. So when I was in high school, I didn't know where I was gonna go to college. I'm getting all these letters, but I'm like watching TV. I'm at an all black, all boys high school in New Orleans. All black, all boys high school. I'm like, I'm gonna go play for a black coach. Who the black coaches? John Chaney, John Thompson. John Thompson not recruiting me. He got all these other boys from Louisiana. He ain't recruiting me. I'm gonna go to Temple because I love Mark Macon. He was my idol. I love Mark
Yeah.
Macon.
Shout out to
So
Mark.
I used to watch Temple. So, but I knew nothing about the Big Five because you're in New Orleans, you don't know nothing about the Big Five. So I go up freshman year, and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna go play against UPenn and the Palestra." I'm like, "What's the Palestra?" I know nothing about that stuff. So, man, just seeing what it's like. First of all, just experiencing the basketball culture in Philly, you're like, these boys love basketball up here. It's like, I'm from a football state. So it's how this is, basketball in Philly is how football is back in Louisiana. So they got leagues, they got basketball leagues. We didn't have that growing up. They got pro-am, they got a pro team. We had no pro team. So
Yeah.
you got 5 high major Division I programs right here. So it was, it's a bloodbath. You lose that Temple, you go win that at UPenn, you play LaSalle. It was no walkover game. You go play St. Joe's. Them boys was, so that was fun, man. So I used to look forward to those Big Five games, and you got how many local newspapers writing about the basketball every day.
Yeah.
It's the Inquirer, the Daily News. So like it was fun, man. Just like all the coaches, the legendary coaches, the legendary programs, high school programs. I mean, what more can you say? So it was fun. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
How long did it take you to start realizing? Because I used to think, but like because everybody, LaSalle, Temple, St. Joe's, Penn, like a lot of people's from Philly. Villanova was the team that didn't have a lot of Philly people, but with John and Jay, we were Philadelphia guys, and that was like the first time you had that in a while. But we used to always think like, man, Kerry ain't worrying about playing against LaSalle, or Kerry ain't worried about, or Eric Ebert's not worrying about University of Penn. Like who would but we used to look at those games. There's bragging rights for the whole summer, the year. Like we still talk about it. I'm like, they not gonna get it up. And Lap used to do a pretty good job of trying to create the environment, create the scenario. But I'm like, I don't think Kerry care about playing against Kareem Towns right now, to be honest with you, dog.
I didn't. Temple, yes. Temple, yes. But Penn and St. Joe's, LaSalle, nah. I couldn't wrap my y'all used to give me hype because y'all be talking trash. And then the kids on the other team was like, they was aggressive. So like they would bring out the best in you, but heading into the matchups, it took me a while. It took me at least a couple years.
Yeah, and I used to be on the court fast. Come on, Kerry, bust it, because just like you said, like people used to talk. We get into that too. Like people in the hood, like, nah, Kerry, all right. He wear the one sock up, and I don't need how that figured out. The one sock up, one sock down. But they grew into it because Villanova wasn't a Philly school. They didn't consider us Philly, right? So it's like, Kerry, bust they ass, man. They talking shit. Come on, Kerry. And I'm like, you looking at me like, man, we playing University of Penn, dog. Like, get out of here, dog. I don't care about that.
Yeah. If you're not from Philly, you from down south, you don't get it. You don't get it.
Yeah, for sure.
So can we get into this pro stint, man? Because
not yet. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on, Fats. Hold on. Because I gotta, and again, we teaching people experience and stuff, and always like you got time, you got these things. I'm gonna tell you the time and talk about it. You can talk about it as much as you want. You don't have to talk about it all, Kerry, but I'm gonna bring it up because I don't think we've ever talked about it as grown-ups.
Okay.
Facts. The one time I was pissed off.
Infuriated. Pissed off, in other words.
At Kerry Kittles. You know when, Kerry?
Mm-hmm.
So one thing about us was discipline. Study hall, got to go to class every day, practice. So we got practice. So we get to practice. One of the rules, Lap used to say, 5 minutes early is late. So we get to practice. No Jay Lawson. No Kerry Kittles. No Jay Lawson. No Kerry Kittles. So I'm sitting there like, so now practice is going. They ain't there. So I'm like, so Jay come, no Kerry Kittles. Don't scrunch up your face. Listen to it. So now coach is like this. Yo, man, we got practice 5:30 in the morning tomorrow. Da-da-da-da. That's the punishment. Get to practice the next day. No Kerry Kittles. I said, hold the hell up, dog. where Kerry at, dog? Where's Kerry? You there? So coach pulls me to the side. He's like, yo, you know where Kerry is? I said, I don't. He said, yo, I got word that he's pledging at a fraternity down Temple. So I said, I never heard that. All right, don't worry about it. So now we don't have practice. I mean, we have practice. We go back to our room. Practice was so early. Got back to our room. I'm laying down. All I hear is on the door. So I look. I'm like, who's that? So me and Jay sitting there. Open the door. Jay. Me and Jay roommates. It's Kerry. Yo, deep ass voice. Yo, what's up, y'all? I turn my back. When I say I act like I turn my back to him. I ain't want to hear nothing, dog. I'm sitting there. He's like, hey, yo, Al, don't turn your back to me. Don't turn your back to me. And he explained like what happened. Yo, I apologize. This. So I was like, dog, how could you do that? Like, what are you doing? And Kara's like, yo, man, they like my brothers. They like my brothers. And I don't know if you remember, Kara. I was like, well, what about us? We your brothers too. But he apologized. We got through it. But do you want to talk about? Do you remember that? Do you remember that moment?
Yeah. So I don't even know how it happened. I wound up pledging this fraternity down at UPenn. And we're in the middle of the pledging. You know, it's senior year, and I ain't really supposed to be doing this, so I'm doing it underground or whatever. And I missed a morning workout because I was still in Philly. That's what it was. We had a morning run. And then the next day was like, we're going to get up again as a punishment for Kerry. Normally it's like 1 day a week, twice a week. So they had to run again the next morning, and I missed 2 days in a row. So that's
No, Kerry. No, it's practice. It wasn't no morning runs.
We didn't even really start official practice yet. It was
practice.
I think it was a workout. I think it was
Jay went to go get a haircut. It was practice. It was the beginning of the season. Practice. We didn't know. It wasn't no workout.
It was November. Practice. October.
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 But go ahead. I'll let you finish. Workout practice.
You know, look. Senior year, I was trying to like find something to like lock me in. That wasn't the reason why I pledged. I pledged because it was just like, you know, it was a social thing to do, right? It was like you on campus at Villanova for 3 years. Ain't much to do besides Smokey Joe's and and whatever else. So I pledged the fraternity, and it was a screw up. It was honestly a screw up. Why I missed practice and why I missed the workout. So it wasn't practice, and then the next morning I missed the morning workout. So
yeah.
You let your teammates down, and then you just, you know, you try to own up to it, and then you try to make up for it, which, you know, I had to deal with the consequences. My brother,
what was the consequences? Because we couldn't say nothing to you. They ain't Chris Paul you and send you home.
I didn't play. I didn't play in one of the couple of games in the beginning of the season. I think
they said they were going to say you were sick though. They covered it up. They said you were sick.
But I missed a couple of preseason games, I think it was.
Yeah. I mean, you grow from it all and that stuff. But that was a time, again, fast like Villanova, you talk to other schools. I talked to other schools in the Big East, other players from the Big East. The discipline that we had, even when we had Chuck Cornegie come to us, coming from North Carolina State, he couldn't grasp how strict we were, how disciplined we were going to class. Chuck was one of them dudes like you was hoping you wasn't in his class because you know the coaches was checking because they checked every day, and Chuck was missing class. Chuck was, you know what I mean, he had to adjust. And like when something like that happened and Kerry Kittles doing it was like, damn, man, like something's going on. First I thought something that happened to him. I didn't know if I was gonna have to call you down, you know what I mean? But it was like one of them. But we got through it.
Philly, actually. I wasn't.
I had your back, Kerry. Don't worry. So
Who? Let's talk a little about shit. There was some great players in the Big East, dog. Some great players. You was Dundada, and that year you won the Big East Player of the Year, 1996. No, 1995.
Yeah.
1995. What? Tell me what went in your head going into that year. And you had the Ray Allen, you had Lawrence Moten, like you had was Michael Smith, Bob was Bill Curley and them guys there? Was he there in 95?
Was Curly still? I think he was gone.
You had some big time players, Ray Allen and Lawrence Moten in particular.
Ray Allen, long. We got to understand. I think what
And AI was a freshman.
he was a freshman. So what prepared me for junior year was Aaron McKee and Eddie Jones. So when we played Temple my sophomore year, your freshman year, I know for a fact Eddie had 21 that game, and I think Aaron had late teens. But like those are hard working 20 points because it's a low scoring game.
Yeah.
And it's like it ain't much transition. It's all half court execution and then 1-on-1. And
Right.
Eddie Jones was like, he gets drafted as a lottery pick, and I'm like, I got some work to do. I mean, I averaged 19 my sophomore year, but I was like, Eddie nice. Like I got to get right. So that prepared me for my junior year, and then Ray Allen started to emerge, and then obviously Moten was he was just scoring points. Like you couldn't stop Moten. So Lawrence Moten was, to me, he was a better 1-on-1 player at that point in our careers. Like he was with the ball in his hands, ISO, mid range, he was killing you. You couldn't stop him. He scored 36 on us in Philly. And after the game, John Haynes was like, Kerry Kittles, he busts your ass. Like, you put the whole team. He was like, and it wasn't lie. I was like, I don't know, it was 36 points. He probably scored 28 on me. At least 28. And I was like, how he make these shots? Like Moten was
just so poetry in motion, dog.
Yeah. So you always find motivation from other guys. Like, you win some, you lose some, and then like I couldn't wait to play Ray Allen in the next game in Connecticut. I mean, I couldn't sleep. I was so ready for that game. It was like they was ranked number 1, we was ranked number 3. We go up to stores to play them, and I was like, I'm gonna destroy them.
But you put too much pressure on yourself. You were so ready, you didn't really have a good game that game.
I had 37. And then, because after we lose to Syracuse, Jim Boeheim said, if Lawrence Moten isn't the best player in the Big East, I don't know basketball. That was his exact quotes. And I was like, I couldn't sleep, bro. I couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Hey, I remember that game. Like you said, we went down UConn. They had a 73 game win streak at Gamble Pavilion. It was crazy out there, Fats. John was hurt. So that was like one of my first starts my sophomore year after the Eskimo bust my ass. I got put on the bench. John came back, and then John actually ended up breaking his foot, that same injury. But we in the game is going, UConn used to press Kevin Ollie, Brian Fair, Ray Allen,
Rudy Gay.
Marshall.
No, not Rudy Gay. Rudy Johnson.
Rudy Johnson. They came in waves, man. Kevin Ollie used to push it, and then they had Ray Allen. Like you said, Ray Allen was that dude, starting to be that dude. And we going and we getting it on. We mopping them. So we go through the thing. They're like, yeah, Williams 2. At halftime, they go through all the stats. Williams 2, Lawson 7, Ebers 10, Kittles 25. At halftime. And I remember we had a guy, Kevin Cox. He was a walk-on the team. And Kevin Cox, He's like, God damn! And he's just yelling. It was crazy, dog. The arena, they get silent. Everything's like Kerry Kittles, 25. Man, this boy ended with 37, dog. Oh, that was a show. That was one of the best games. Then later that year, you had 44 against BC. Yeah, yeah. But
Fuck it.
it was a lot of talent. And AI, he was a young freshman, just he was killing. That was a lot of talent in the Big East back then, man.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely a lot of talent. Definitely a lot of
All right.
talent.
Go ahead, Fats. I know you want to get to the league. My bad, dog.
Man, I gotta get to my man about the league because Kerry, you were part of one of the best draft classes in NBA history, right?
Yep.
And you got drafted really high, which being related to Al and being a part of the program, I was really proud of you and happy that you had achieved that level of success. And there was some big name players you was drafted ahead of, and you actually got in the league and got right to you started right away, I think, when you got in the pros. But I want to talk to you about that draft class. What was that like, being a part of that class? And what was the emotion going through it for you when you experienced that?
You know, it's like, I mean, at the time, you know, you think about all the drafts before that. When you're in the draft, you're not thinking that this is a legendary class. You're just like, a bunch of guys left early. You know, a lot of guys left early. It was, I think, Camby was number 2 as a senior, and myself. So everybody else was underclassmen, and but you quickly start to see. You look at the stat sheets, and you start seeing what guys are averaging. It's like, wow, these guys are doing well. So Antoine Walker was killing it in Boston, and then obviously AI was what came into the league, just destroying the league. Ray Allen, Stephon Marbury. So, and then, you know, it wasn't until a couple of years later when Steve Nash started to emerge. Once he got away, you know, he started starting once he left Phoenix, and then Kobe started to become Kobe. But then you had Jermaine O'Neal, you had Pager. I mean, those guys, you know, Sharif in Atlanta. I mean,
that was a crazy class, man.
Crazy draft class. So it's fun to be a part of that class. Looking back on it.
Kerry, why didn't you leave? Because you had an opportunity. You was Player of the Year, All American. What made you decide to stay your senior year?
I just wanted to graduate college. I was having
Okay.
fun. I figured the league wasn't going nowhere.
Right. Interesting.
So now you're in the pros, right? You started as a rookie
I started most games. I think most games. Yep.
and drafted to the Nets, right?
Yep.
What was that like, man? Getting to be a starter as a rookie in the NBA. I see here on my notes, you averaged about 15 shots a game as a rookie, yo.
We weren't that good. We had a lot of older players, and our roster wasn't good. We had a new coach, Calipari, came out of college with me. We started out bad. They wound up making a trade mid-season, and we got some better players, but we just weren't that good. So it was just like Calipari was like, just be aggressive to score. So, you know, you're trying to find your way around the league, trying to match your game up and try to figure out what you're good at, what you got to work on. And I was the only rookie on the team. It was all veterans. So they took me up under their wing. I had Kendall Gill and Jason Williams, and you know, I just tried to figure out what I was good at, and I was just putting up shots basically.
Yeah, no. You look at that, right, and you hear that, especially and how does it impact you hearing, you know, internet and all that stuff? I know the deal, I know the real. When he talk about Colin Curry, the Nets, they had the opportunity to take Kobe Bryant instead of this, but instead of Kerry Kittles, or Kobe Bryant could, because you went 7th,
Hey,
8th, you went 8th, and this, but Kobe Bryant wasn't the Kobe Bryant that everybody. He's a young, and you was a college All-American, put work in and everything. When you hear that, how does that rub you? How do you feel? Does it make a difference? Like, people really tripping, man. Like, really tripping when it comes to that.
I had 4 years of body of work playing college basketball at the highest level, and I excelled at the highest level, big games, big moments. And Kobe was out of high school. He was still trying to figure things out. He was a young, talented player. So, and then when they mentioned that, I'm like, he was 13. I was 8. What about those other picks?
Right.
So no one could predict that he was going to be Kobe Bryant. So
And if you're looking at it like that, you came in there and you put in lots of work from the beginning to the end.
Day one.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah,
it's a lot of it's a lot of people what they think, but just knowing that, clearing that up. But I never talked to you about like hearing the noise or just what you thought of that whole thing. But yeah.
So what's it like? Now you pro, you balling, you coming into some paper. You said you wasn't smelling yourself at.
Oh, he
you
came
wasn't-
into some paper.
You wasn't smelling yourself at Villanova. I'm sure you smelling yourself now, Kerry. You know what I mean? You with the Nets, you're doing your thing, you're getting points, you're on TV every night. What's life like for you, man?
life is good. It's like, look, it's I didn't have any NBA aspirations as a kid. Like I said, I grew up in a football state. No one's thinking I'm gonna go pro for the NBA. I'm thinking I'm gonna go to college, get my degree, and hoop.
Okay.
So
Mm.
I got to the NBA, and it's like, let's just hoop. Let's just compete against some of the guys I watched play as a kid. I'm on the court with Michael Jordan. I'm on the court with Clyde Drexler, Reggie Miller, all-time greats. I'm on the
That's who
court.
you were compared to a lot too, right? Reggie Miller was a comparable to you coming out.
Yep, I'm on the court with my idols. I'm on the court with I'm watching Kareem. I'm not Kareem. I'm watching Olajuwon, Patrick Ewing, David Robinson. So, man, I'm just having a ball. I'm enjoying basketball for what it is. It's a sport. I'm competing at the highest level, and I'm trying to make a name for myself.
So
Well, I'll tell you, he came back to campus, had a Benz, and he had a Rolex. And I'll never forget.
You got toys. You kind of splurge a little bit. You know what I mean? You go out to LA as an NBA player and you go to La La Land and you on the beach. You on Venice Beach or you out there in Hollywood partying with the big timers. So it's a good time. It's a good lifestyle.
Good.
The one thing I can say about Kerry, he came back and scooped your boy up. I never forget. Came back, he had a Benz and he had a Rolex. And that was the first time I ever seen a Rolex. And I'm sitting there, first time I ever been in a Mercedes. He picked me, he was like, hey, he's like, yo, let's go see AI. So I'm like, do you remember this?
Yeah.
He's like, let's go see AI. I was like, nah, I'm cool. I don't really like dude all like that because he was just terrorizing me for the past 2 years, and I don't really think it's sweet like that. He was like, no, man, he cool. So he takes me around to his crib and we kicked you like you put me off brought me off, picked me up from campus. We went over there and kicked it with him for a little bit. And it was like, all right, yeah, AI, because I've known AI for we actually went to Nike camp together. He probably went, we was on the same team. But he was a junior, he was a year younger than me. But I was like, yeah, I don't really rock with him like that, just from a competitive standpoint. Took me
Yeah.
over there, me and him chopped it up. It was a good time. But Kerry used to come back and kick it with us. He always was very humble, like even with the NBA lifestyle. And that's the one thing I also appreciated and I grew to be fond of you with. I remember you becoming an ordained minister while we was in college, right? Were we in college? You was very,
Yeah. You
grounded
go
with your religion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I was
so
like, when I was in college, I ain't gonna lie, like when I was at Nova, I met Mo Cheeks. He was an assistant coach for the Sixers at the time, and Mo Cheeks was like a mentor to me. So like I would see Mo in the summertime, and he took me under his wing, and like I learned a lot from Mo. Mo was like he kept me humble, and
what
like
did you learn? What's some things you learned from Mo?
just like just like run your own race. Put your head down. Don't worry about nobody else around you. Just run your own race. Keep your head down. Don't get caught up in all the media stuff. Like I never read the paper. I never looked in 4 years at Nova. I never looked at my stats. I didn't even know I was gonna be the all-time leading scorer until like maybe the week before. They was like, "Yo, you got to break the record." I'm like, "What record?" There was like Villanova's scoring record. I was like, "Wait, what?" I had no idea. So like Mo taught me that. Mo was like, "Just keep your head down. The money gonna come. You gonna be in the league. Like, just keep getting better." So like, I tried to share that with Al. Like Al,
Yep.
you gonna get that, dog. Like just keep working. You nice. Like so, I learned a lot from guys before me, and that started out, all the older players before me in high school. I learned from those guys. Same thing in college. I learned from Lance Miller, who was a senior my freshman year. He showed me the ropes. Then it was Mo Cheeks as my mentor my last couple of years, and John Haynes as an older player. So like, you just gotta, following God's footsteps.
Yep.
Through your NBA career, you played against some bad motherfuckers. I mean, like that, the league was just stacked with a lot of guards. If you would want us to give a shout out to some players that you may have competed against that you had some mutual respect for, or some of the guys you want to send some shout out while we're here on this platform, I think it'd be a great time to hear your opinion or hear your voice about your experience.
So as a back then, it was positional basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So back then you was a 2 guard. So as a shooting guard, my toughest matchups was obviously MJ and Kobe. Those 2 guys were in the league by themselves. Then the next tier guys, you had Reggie Millers, you had Steve Smiths, you had Allen Houston and Ray Allen, those guys. And then emerging under that, you had Paul Pierce was right. He was in that class of shooting guards. So you had every night you had a matchup. You had a one-on-one matchup, and you had to be ready to compete. So I give props to those guys. Latrell Sprewell, he was a problem. He was a problem. Vince Carter was a 2 guard. He was a big 2 at 6'6", athletic. Vince was a problem. So he was a problem. So the point guard matchups back then and the shooting guard matchups in the NBA was like you had no nights off. Really, you didn't.
I know one, and me and Fats both know him. Catino Mobley revered you growing up when we all the same age, but I remember when I first went to Villanova and going back, he used to beg me to bring him tapes back of you so he can study you, dog. Like he loved you and Eddie Jones. You mentioned Eddie, loved Eddie, but he was like, yo, bring me some tapes of Kerry Kittles. And I used to have to bring him tons of tapes of you. And I know when we FaceTimed them together one time, we got on a call with him together one time, and he was so excited to see you. But Cat, I know you influenced him a lot, and Catino was a bad boy too. So
yeah, Eddie Jones. I mean, I love Eddie's game. I used to try to be. Back then, that's what you did as a young kid. Like you try to mimic other players coming up.
Yeah.
Like I told you before, I love Mark Macon. I liked Billy Owens at Syracuse. That's why I wore number 30. So you watch those guys play, then you go in the backyard and you try to copy their moves. You didn't have YouTube. You didn't have the internet to go. You watch a move on TV and you go in the backyard and you try to copy it.
Yeah.
So like Todd Day was another one of my idols.
I remember you talking about him a lot. Yep.
I love Todd Day. So like back in Louisiana, he was right there, Arkansas. I watched the Razorbacks play every game. So that's how it was back then.
I remember you talk about him. And that was the thing too, also with you. And we had a guy, John Celestin, I think, who's originally from Louisiana as well. But y'all didn't have problems of giving people props. Like you used to talk so much about a Todd Day and things like that. And John Celestin giving people props and just saying if somebody was good. Like Philly, we can't say you good. We just can't do it. Man, get out of here, man. Like he not better than like. It was just hard for us to do that, but it was eye-opening to say, you know what, I can give him props, but I also, I just gave him 35. I gave him 40. You know what I mean? So that was a cool thing to witness, that you can give somebody props, because we got to just be, he ain't nothing, he garbage. He did, like, you can't give nobody props. You can't. Nobody's better than you. Nobody can beat you in a fight. Nobody beats you. Like nothing. Like you just couldn't give nobody credit for nothing.
Kerry, I wanted to talk to you about the championship runs you had, and I wanted you to give me a little experience on what it's like to win that many games. Because me and Al, we talk about winning, right? I'm all about winning. And you have a stretch to the championship run. Talk about that winning stretch. And what's it like playing against Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant at the same time, man?
Man, it's like finally, like when you're in the pros, you got 82 games. It's a long season. And when I started out on a bad team, my first couple of years, so when you find on a good team, you're like, all right, we could compete now. And so we get Jason Kidd, we draft Richard Jefferson, we already got Kenyon Martin and Keith Van Horn. So now we competitive. And we go to 2 NBA finals. We play Shaq and Kobe, Phil Jackson. They run a triangle offense. They pick you apart. They know what you're trying to do. They got great role players. Listen, all the great superstar players always are surrounded by great teammates that make their job easier so you can't double them. So you double Shaq, you got Derek Fisher spotting up. You got Rick Fox spotting up. You got Robert Horry spotting up. You got Kobe on the other side. If they swing the ball, he gonna ISO you one-on-one. So the Lakers if Kobe and Shaq get along, it's a crazy dynasty. You're talking about 5, 6, 7 championships. You couldn't stop that team. They're the best in the league. They both can score 35, 40 if you don't double team those guys. So then the next year we play Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and Ginobili, 3 Hall of Famers plus and older but still David Robinson, Popovich.
Oh,
They pick up Robert Horry. Robert Horry is one of the best teammates you could have on a championship team. So we lose to both of those teams in the finals. Great experience. We come up short. We get swept the first year, of course. The next year we win 2 games. But that was the highlight of my career, basically. And to be on that stage playing against those 2 dynasties.
And I'll let you. We running over a lot of time, taking a lot of your time, so I appreciate it. But people might not know, or Fats might not remember. Prior to those 2 runs, you suffered a serious injury. You had a serious knee condition. So you sat out. Was it a year and a half? A year?
1 year. Yeah.
1 year. And for you to come back and play at that level and be the man, averaging what, 14, 15, 16, whatever you was averaging, whatever you was averaging, no, you was a big piece of that. But you went through that mentally, going through that injury, getting challenged, because that was the first time I remember you even being hurt. I don't remember you spraining a pinky before that. Like, what did you have to go through with all of those things to get back to that point to help your team or be a big part of your team being a championship?
I just think that, you see other guys have injuries, but until you have to go through that setback, it's humbling. It really is. It's like doctors are telling you they don't know if you'll be able to play again. Then you have a major knee surgery. It's up in the air. I take the year off. I go to California. I just rehab the whole year, not knowing what's going to happen or how the knee is going to respond once I get back on the court and start to try to play again. So I was fortunate, man. I was like, once again, I'm playing with house money. Give me house money. I ain't supposed to be playing. I had a career-ending surgery, so now I'm able to play. I'm just hooping again, Al. So I'm happy to be out there. Now I'm playing with one of the greatest point guards, Jason Kidd. I'm in the backcourt with him. We have a good team. So I'm just hooping, dog. So I was happy to be out there, and to have the knee not set me back. It's allowed me to play and compete once again. So I'll ecstatic.
Going through knee injuries, even Fats being there with me, he helped me through my knee injury, my microfracture surgery, when I was never able to get back. I mean, I was nice in the pro-am and at Drexel Summer League after that, but I couldn't play no NBA and running around chasing
Yeah.
Tony Parker and Ginobili and guarding Kobe and all that. But I will tell you this, and you know I got to pick with you. You talking about Shaq and Kobe? If they agreed, they would have won 5 or 6. Tayshaun Prince and the Detroit Pistons knocked them off in 2004 with both of them on that team. And I talked to Fats about Tayshaun Prince, and he said Karolinko was better than Tayshaun Prince. That's what he said.
We're
Ooh.
talking about Kerry Kittles right now, man. Let's
Okay, I just threw that out there. You know what I
Hey
mean?
Al,
You know, Kerry.
if Kobe and Shaq didn't have their little riff,
Nobody touching them.
they not Detroit. That year was a hot mess. The Lakers.
Yeah,
That
they
year,
brought Karl Malone,
Yeah,
Gary
Carmelo,
Payton.
yeah, they were hanging on by a thread. I'm surprised they got to the finals that year.
Yeah. It was surprising they got to the
Yeah,
finals that year.
yeah.
But them
Nah, you know
boys,
I had to
they,
mess
they
with you.
locked in and they playing together. Trust me.
Yeah, just a few things before we let you go, man, because I want to highlight a few things, man, from you going back to Villanova, getting your MBA, and I just like to highlight those things, man, because a lot of people don't give credit to former players and players, athletes. They view you in one way and don't acknowledge the human aspect, the intellectual side, the ambition that drives you in other aspects of life and other fields. But you going back to school after your MBA career once you retired and getting your MBA, what went into that decision?
It's the same thing like the question you asked earlier about why I didn't turn pro. It's like the reason why I didn't turn pro after my junior year is the same reason I went back to school was because there's more to life than basketball, right? Like, so, I didn't have like just crazy hoop dreams. I looked at life holistically. So like get my degree, undergraduate was important to me and to my family and my mother in particular. Like graduate from college. Don't just go to, and my high school coach. You go to school to graduate to get your degree. Basketball will take care of itself. So as once my career was winding down and it was ending, I was always looking to go back to school to get my master's. And it was only a matter of time before I sat down and my mom, and she was like, "Yeah, get your master's. Like, why not? You have opportunity to do that." And I was just starting to have kids, so it was a window, for me to go do that. So um, it just my upbringing. It's all about my upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to hear that. It's nice for Al to even bring that up. And it's good for our audience or kids that's watching for you to say it out loud like that, Kerry, that there's more than basketball when it comes to this life. Like you said, you looked at it holistically where like, hey, I'm in this space. got an opportunity to get a college degree. Now I can go perform as a pro, and now I can go back and get some more education. That's strong. And like Al said, me personally, I like to applaud you for that because that take a lot of work, a lot of effort. And I think that's helpful for our audience to hear a professional athlete of your stature go back to school and grab your degree. So I wanted to applaud you for that because that's big time right there.
Appreciate it.
Nah, for sure. No, but Kerry, thank you, man. I know it's a lot, man. It's a lot. Maybe we have further conversations because I would love to
You
talk
wanted
to
to
you
touch on
about.
AAU basketball. That's what you wanted to touch on.
I did, but I didn't want to take too much of your time. I didn't know if we do a second segment or because I talk about your college experience as a coach at Princeton University, and with the thing. But I love to talk about AAU basketball. You just came from a Boo Williams tournament out in Virginia. You know what I mean? And your voice is hoarse. You got the T, and like what's your because you played AAU. If you don't mind, what's your take on it?
Well, back then it was, it was more just like coaches. It was more of a focus on development. It was more of a focus of a team aspect, and now it's marketing. That's what it is. It's branding. It's marketing, and it's cameras everywhere. It's QR codes. It's apps. It's social media interview. They're interviewing 13-year-old kids. I'm at a junior. I'm at a tournament with quote unquote eighth graders, seventh grade kids, and they're interviewing these kids at a tournament. So it's marketing. It's unfortunate that that's what it's come to with youth basketball, but it's the landscape now, and so you bring your kid there to have an experience. My kid was happy to be there. He follows some of these kids on social media, so now he got a chance to see some of them kids play up close, and to be in the building and to watch the energy, and you see talent, and it's but it is marketing. It's all about marketing and making money.
So I'm a parent, right? And I have a son, and my son says, "Dad, I want to be this, do this, do this." Do they have to play AAU in order to achieve their goals?
They don't have to. There's no. I still don't think that you have to play, especially if your kid is developed and is working on their game. It's all about development, and I think at the end of the day, the cream is going to always rise to the top, no matter where. So, do you have to play in tournaments and travel across the country and spend thousands of dollars to play in these venues? No, I don't think so. But it's hard to tell a kid no when all of his friends are playing and the local team is traveling, and it's they go on their devices and they see these tournaments and they see all the exposure. It's hard to tell a kid no.
But and Fats, you can jump in too, because as a parent, why is it so hard today to say no? I grew up on the word no. So I know I don't want to be that parent. I want to have explanation. I want to have, but if I know like it's marketing, and I know that a lot of parents, you hear about all the money you spend, all the time you invest, everything, and then you still continue to do that to get what result? Because I just don't want to tell my kid no. I don't want to miss out. Is this a perfect opportunity? What, like, my thing is, why is it imperative to be in that environment when it's so time consuming? It's expensive. It's something, the developmental piece is not there. The human element is not there. Why is it so hard for a parent to say no or find another avenue?
I think we've convinced ourselves that this is the normal. It's the same thing as like we convinced ourselves to buy our kids cell phones at 11 years old because
Mhm.
all their friends have cell phones. And now your kid's the only kid without a cell phone, and
You don't want to miss out.
they don't want to miss out. They're in sixth grade. All their friends are on group chats and communicating and they whatever else, right? So do you tell your kid no? Okay, you can. For how long? Seventh grade, eighth grade? You're gonna have a 13-year-old without a cell phone when every kid's got a cell phone? That's the same thing with AAU. It's like every kid is playing travel basketball. Every kid is going to these tournaments. Your kid is playing basketball. Do you say no? I mean, it's easy to say, it's easy to think that, but you're probably going to buy into it and maybe curb it a little bit and say, okay, like what I did was we're going to play regional. We're not playing national at 13. We're not traveling, at this age, we don't have to go to California. We'll just go to Virginia. We'll go to Pennsylvania. It's expensive. You got to commit to it, but it's some give and take there. But that's the landscape now. It's where it's
Yeah.
at now with youth basketball, and it's good exposure if your kid is that good. Yes, but you don't need to do it. You don't have to. High school level, 16, 17-year-old kids, yes. 13, 14-year-olds, no, you don't have to.
What's your take, Fats? What you got?
I was curious to ask him because he's involved in it. Do you think the talent is the same? Do you think the guys playing is hard? Do you think these kids are committed? Or is it, like you said, a fashion show? Is it just kids wanting to get on the court without the same commitment, per se, you and Al had, without all that noise around, where you guys are really focused on craft, where you saying like it seemed like the kids are just going to the show. They buying the ticket to the show and maybe not committed as much as you guys was back then.
This is a different conversation. I think now we're getting into style of play. Because now it's like how AAU was when we played versus how AAU is now.
Mhm.
It's like how the game was played back when Al and I played versus how the modern game is now.
Mhm.
Today's AAU youth basketball mimics today's brand of basketball at the highest level. When you watch the NBA, when you watch college, it's an open freestyle pickup game. So it's the same thing at the youth level. Where Al and I played, the NBA, college basketball was more structured, it's more organized. You ran sets, you ran plays, and that's how it was at youth basketball. Youth basketball was not a rat's race like it is today. Having said all that, these kids can compete. These kids got after this weekend 13, they're supposed to be 13, 14-year-old graders, but the talent level was crazy.
Good to hear that.
The talent level, what I saw, wow.
Yeah.
Yes. 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 These kids can hoop. They're skilled. It's a skill game now. At the highest level, it's about skill. Guess what? These 13, 14-year-old kids, they are skilled.
I can appreciate that, but the piece that I see, and that I don't like to compare the eras and all this, it's the time.
Right.
But what we had with the structure, I think it not just was on the court, it was off the court. I think there were it's a degree of responsibility by our parents, the leadership, the coaches, and ourselves to how we conducted ourselves. Like you said, we were taught basketball was something recreational that we can use to maybe get to college, not really thinking much about the NBA. So that forced us to be a different type of human being. That forced us to look at life as a child from a different lens. I think there's a lot of today's world where you're pushing a kid or potentially could push a kid for a financial reason or some financial gain or some status. Now you're pushing a kid through childhood much faster, and they're not grasping the true life skills that you're going to need when you're 40, when you're our age and retired, if you make it to that high level. Now you might end up through all of this being an empty person and not knowing, trying to figure things out, which we still had to figure things out later in life. But I thought our foundation was set through the structure and the style of play and how we did things as youth. And that's the thing that I'm not fearful of, but I'm just cautious about, because there's so much emphasis on these kids now to become great and be great right now from a financial agenda. He can get $2 million, he can get $500,000. And it's one of those things where I think kids will fall out of love with the actual game, because the business of everything that we experienced in college and the pros is at their doorstep at the age of 13. Like, they're learning the business of it. And once you know business and money comes involved, it takes the purity away from the actual skill set and the actual, the actual thing that you're doing. So that you can, like Mo Cheek said, keep your head down and just go forward and run your race. A lot of these kids, they see so much from so many different angles that forces them to get distracted easily. And I think you can fall out of love with the actual sport from hearing your mom and dad on your ear, from seeing this, from hearing about that. That's what I'm really cautious of, how these kids actually develop later in life. I would love to take a study and just see, have like a chart of kids in different generations after this AAU and youth sports of today's world.
Yeah, that's definitely the challenge, I would say, is keeping them grounded and rooted. They're switching teams, right now at 13, 14 years old. They're playing for one club, and then they're getting offers from other clubs, and they're getting money offers. These 13-year-old kids, I know from Jersey, are getting offers to go play for other ball clubs because it's they more of an opportunity, whatever. So that's the challenge, right? Is who's looking out for their best interests? Who are they guiding? Who's guiding these kids throughout all of this? Because it is a lot now. The money, the business aspect is starting so early, and they're making decisions where to send these kids to high school. Do they go to prep school? Do they go down to OTE? Do they go to Mount Verde? They're going all over the country now, and so it's a challenge, and it's impacting their ability to just stay grounded and rooted.
Yeah, we'll let you go, but I know Fats. I know you love this, man. So you go ahead, you can wrap it up. You can ask whatever you need to ask.
Hey, Kerry, we do a sports show too, and I told Al that I would ask you to please be a guest on our show.
All right.
Thank you for all the time you gave us today, man. We're a little over your time, but I'm very appreciative
all
of your
good.
time. I've been a big fan of yours, and because you treated my cousin like your brother, I really had a lot of
Oh,
love for
he
you,
is my
man,
brother.
for years. So I always had love for you. I never met you as much as me and him be together. I never actually sat and met you, Kerry, but I got big love for you, and I really thank you a lot for spending some time to do this podcast with us. And if there's anything you want to say before you get off this show with us, you can have the floor. But thanks again for coming. And I'm told Al I was going to ask you to be a part of our sports show, to be a guest on the show. So that's my ask.
My pleasure. My pleasure. You guys let me know. Al is my brother for sure. So when he asked me to hop on the podcast, it's all gravy. It's like it's no sweat for me to come in and talk about my career and Alvin's and our relationship over the years. We're definitely brothers now. As he mentioned earlier, we've grown closer post career, and we talk basketball, we talk life. This is nothing new to me, so it's all good, man.
I got one more, Kerry. What's the scouting?
Yeah.
What's the scouting report on Al, man?
You know the scouting report.
Make him score because he want to pass. He want to pass. Make him shoot. Make him score.
Hey, Kerry, it was a pleasure having you, man. I can't wait to get you onto the sports show.
All
Really
good.
appreciate you doing this with us, man. And much
Anytime.
love. Trust me, man. Big love. You got it, Al.
Anytime. Anytime.
No, that's it, man. I already know. Everybody know, man. I talk about Kerry all the time. Anybody who listen to me, I love you. I'm proud of you. Yeah, I learned a lot from you. I looked up being a month or two younger than you, and coming like people don't know you're a young guy. You're a year older than me, grade wise, but you 2 months older than me. So I guess I might have reclassed once or twice, but 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 no, it's always been a mentor. Always you set the standard. You set the standard for all of us at Nova. You put an imprint on Philly. You put an imprint on my life. My family is your family. Your family is my family. Gave me the King Kate. I'm looking for that Mardi Gras this year. You know what I mean?
I got you.
So, but no, you exposed me to a different side, and I didn't even get into your love for dogs. I used to bring the dogs when you go to play Miami. Your family would bring the dogs and all that stuff, man. We go to Louisiana. We got a dude from Fats Way named Chrome. You gave it to him when you went back and played at New Orleans for your homecoming, and Chrome was tough. But all the
Oh,
it's so
yeah.
much that you and we be on this thing for 5 hours, man. So, but I just love you, man. I can't
Appreciate it.
thank you enough, dog.
Anytime. Love.
Much love.
It's all love.
All right, we wrap that. We'll still stay on, though. I think he